Hello.
So we're going to talk about situations that obviously no one wants to happen, but that happens. So when someone's separating, we get a lot of people call and they don't know, and usually they've had for months, sometimes they've kind of been back and forth and not knowing where to start. So I like to tell people, usually I get them to just call us, we'll check it out, ask questions and see what the situation is. I usually like to tell them, I don't know, I like to line them up.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I just like to, because they usually don't have anyone. They don't want to call lawyers right away, or do I call lawyers first? Do I get pre-approved first? So generally, the best thing would definitely be to get it pre-approved if you're trying to
take over the property.
Keep that property, or buy another one. You need to figure out if you have a house, what you're doing with it. If someone's keeping it, if you're not selling it, then that's
who's going to take it over? Is that person qualified to take it over 100% themselves? If they're not, what is a solution to that? Some couples will decide that, they'll keep both names on the house because it's an amicable separation. Not always an amicable separation, unfortunately. So and it may affect the other person's future plans as well, right? Even if it is amicable, they may not want their name attached to that mortgage because, maybe they're planning a new life with a new partner, or just want to move on with their own life and they want to buy their own house, and being attached to that mortgage is preventing them from purchasing another property under their own name.
Right. So I would say first step would be to reach out and see if you can get pre-approved for whatever you're trying to do. So either keep the house or buy a new one.
Yeah.
But obviously if there's a house, someone needs to
keep
it or sell it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first step. Decide, do we keep it? Do we sell it? What happens with the house? And then once you know if you qualify to either keep it or buy another one, then usually that would be where you can get an appraisal done, but don't do that too quick. Usually it's the lawyers that will ask for one.
To determine the value of it and how much you need to pay out your ex in equity, because oftentimes they have a stake in that property as well. They're likely not just going to give it to you for what's left owing on the mortgage. They're likely going to want some of their investment back.
Right, yeah. And also, sometimes the bank will ask, if it's a refinance, the bank will ask for an appraisal. So just don't do appraisals too quickly. But definitely get pre-approved, find out in your case if you need to just, I don't know, if you're buying a house, then you might not need an appraisal. It's don't do appraisals too quickly.
Figure out what your plan is, what you and your ex are going to do, who's going to take over the house. Okay, if they can't do it, are you willing to take over the house? Or
what's the ideal situation? Because a lot of the times they're well, we kind of want to do this, but we don't know if it's going to work. And and they've been in that loop for months. Usually when I talk to a lot of them, that's where they just didn't know who to reach out to first. And
or maybe they don't have good communication with their ex because they ended on a sour note. So they've been kind of going around in circles just themselves, trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What are they going to do? And meanwhile, it could all be resolved by a simple conversation between you and them saying, hey, who wants the house?
Do you even want it?
Yeah.
Because usually they're not fighting to keep. Usually there's one of the two that wants to keep it, if there is anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
This usually happens when someone wants to keep the house.
Yeah.
And they just don't know. Because if they're gonna sell it, you can easily just put it for sale, sell it, and then
and then you guys split the sale proceeds.
So obviously that's the easiest way would be. I think. Clear path. Okay, we put it for sale, sell it, split, or whatever, decide how
the easiest way to get rid of a property or figure out what to do with it is to sell it when you're going through separation. But if that is not the ideal situation for yourself, because you've got your kids, you don't want to uproot them, you don't want to change schools, you don't want to change neighborhoods, or best friend lives down the street. So in those types of situations, it gets a little bit more complicated, a little bit more messy. And then also some things that you're going to need to, figure out between you and your ex is your separation agreement. After you determine, okay, who's taking the house? Can we qualify to take the house? Okay, now the separation agreement is next. Are there going to be any spousal supports, any child supports? Do we need that in order to qualify you to keep the house?
And that's the lawyer stuff.
That's lawyer stuff, but
you decide all of the details. You don't need to know it before you go see the lawyers. The lawyers will tell you what they need to know and what you need to decide.
And they can help you mitigate it too and determine what's fair for each party.
So I just feel like a lot of people don't know where to start. So like just make a phone call. Usually I would say to get pre-approved if that's what you're like wanting to do. If you're not going to sell the house, I would like talk to like a mortgage broker or whoever that does mortgages. And then we would tell you like, okay, it works or it doesn't work, or this is what we can do, and then you can decide like, is that what we want to do? And then go from there. The lawyer because we'll need a separation agreement. Like most of the time the banks will ask for one. So
especially if you're doing like any sort of spousal buyout where you need to, if you need to give equity to your ex-partner, it needs to be detailed in the separation agreement. Because that's what the bank will want to see. They'll want to see it detailed in there how much you need to pay them, because they're not going to give you money for anything else in a spousal buyout. And generally the reason why somebody would do a spousal buyout as opposed to a refinance is because they need to exceed 80% loan to value of the property. So in that case, it becomes an insured program, because with a spousal buyout, you can go up to 95% if needed.
Yeah, right. So there is that program that can work in certain situations. It also depends, I think, who's on the title.
Yeah. Both parties need to be on title for that program to work as well.
Yeah. But that's a good point, actually, for that program. And we can pay out some debts, right? With
as long as it's dictated in the separation agreement.
Yeah. I know CMHC and Genworth are different. I think their programs.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Anyways,
I could double check.
We'll check. Yeah. Once we know and see like the whole situation, we can find out. But yeah, there are options, and it's just to kind of do the first step. And then for sure, like when I talk to someone who's like in that situation, I'm like I really want to help. Like at least just line them up so they know what to expect or what. I feel like a lot of people get so relieved once they know. They're like, oh my gosh, like even if it's a yes or no, like regardless,
it just takes away that stress of not knowing and of constantly being like, can I do it? Can I not do it? Going around in a circle all the time.
In limbo.
So,
yeah. So once you know, that's for anyone actually.
Yeah, for anything
anytime someone calls. Anytime someone's like, oh, I've been thinking of anything. So buying a house, but we don't know how. So anyways, it's like, no, for sure. Once you know, it's just going to help you make the next decisions and actually move along. Because that's usually what happens. People just kind of get stuck. Yeah. And then they're just thinking about things.
Yeah, exactly.
And like a million scenarios that like won't, that won't even happen, instead of like knowing the one scenario that it will be,
that it can work, or that
and concentrate on that and like move things along. So I think people forget like how much in their head they are sometimes. So
exactly.
So definitely reach out if you're feeling like I don't know where to go. Like reach out. We'll tell you if you need to go get a separation agreement first. We'll tell you
if you need to get that first. We'll tell you, if you guys need to pay out some, like maybe you guys have some joint debts, you know what I mean? And you can pay out some of those with equity, because maybe your partner can't take on their car loan by themselves, but there's only X amount remaining, and you have enough equity in the house to pay for that car loan, and it also happens to represent what you owe them for equity, then that's, it could be a good solution for both parties.
Right.
It gets your name off their car, it gets their name off your house. They get paid out. They don't have that monthly loan repayment anymore. And now you don't have to worry about if they don't pay their car.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So no, for sure, just like moving things along and like feeling like you're getting somewhere, or like settling whatever needs to be settled is like the best. I feel the relief when that happens. So
you can tell they feel like there's just like a cloud hanging over their head and just holding them back from what they want to do or what they need to get done. Yeah.
So I hope that can help.
Yeah. Hopefully that was informative.
And if you have other questions, let us know.
Yeah. Put it in the comments.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
See ya. Bye.